Hey, welcome back, everybody. It's time once again for another edition of OC Spotlight. The one show, maybe the only show that shows you the most incredible people doing the most amazing things. And today, I don't even know how to describe this one. This has been a project that's been in the works for years. It really is something that will catch your ear and attention, I think, because it's something I've never heard about or talked about or thought about, and it's quite a powerful project. So let's see if we can bring our guest in here. Bryan Thompson, once upon a time the host of our show here. What did we call it? Driven
by Design.
Driven by Design, that's it. Bryan is by nature a car designer. I mean, this is like the cool stuff. You were with what, Nissan and all sorts of other brands through the years, and then you did the, what was the self-driving taxi that Amazon bought? Zook, yeah, right. You've done all these other crazy things. I never forget. We'll get into your project. I remember all the time we were doing that show, you kept saying, Paul, I'm in the future all day long, and the future ain't got steering wheels. I tell people that, and they say, no, he's full of it. I don't know if it's still going that fast, but it was pretty wild. You're looking into the future of automotive design here.
Yeah, I would say, being a car designer is always like living in the future, looking back on the present as if it's the past. Because by the time it comes out, it's old. Will we have steering wheels or not? I don't know. A lot of cars won't. Some may, some will, some won't. But we can tell you one thing for sure: it will be a very different world than it is now.
Well, out of this whole thing, you decided to focus on an issue that I don't think anybody has shown a light on. Nobody shines a light on, and that is the the dark world of domestic violence that takes place within your community, the LGBTQ plus. Did I get enough letters in there?
I'm all there.
Okay.
Good job. That was well done.
But, we never think about, obviously, the world has changed in my lifetime here. You're currently engaged. Other people are married. And why not? Then you get to do what we've all suffered with our lives here, too. There's a domestic abuse and things that go on within this community here. And I don't think anybody talks about it. At least I never hear anybody talk about it.
Yeah, it's true. And that is, the plus and minuses of everybody becoming equals. We all have the same issues. We all are human. We all can love and we all can hurt. The project's called the Shine Project. It's a series of portraits shot by luminary photographers.
We're going to show some powerful portraits, very, portraits themselves, artistic portraits that really tell a story more than anything else. I don't know how else to describe it. We'll do that. Go ahead. Yeah.
And that is the point of the project. They're portraits of people coming back into their light. It's a project that focuses on people who've survived domestic violence in a relationship and then have come back into their own. It's not a project that focuses on the injuries and the hurt and the scar. It's a project about how do you find and shine your light again when somebody has dimmed it. And so the project began about 4 or 5 years ago when I myself was in a relationship like that and needed some help. And I got the help. And it just, it's one of those things where you never think it will happen to you until it does. And you never really understand how somebody could be in that until you're literally getting hit in the face.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So,
and you're a big guy. I mean, you're not, does that make it harder? You're a, go look at his Instagram. You're always showing you working out and massive, gyms and all this kind of stuff here. I wouldn't mess with you. I don't know why would anybody mess with you here, but we allow people into our lives and they find ways to hurt us. I mean,
well, it's a great point that you bring up. It's one of the stigma about being, a man in a relationship where you're being hit by another man is that it really doesn't have anything to do with size or muscularity. It has to do with whether it's in you as a person, in someone, to hit somebody, right, and to take that. And I don't have it in me to ever do that. So I'm not a fighter.
Me neither. Yeah.
Yeah. You either have it or you don't. You either have this side of you that decides conflict can be resolved with violence or you don't. And so that was one of the stigmas that I had to overcome myself, is a lot of people just wouldn't believe me.
Yeah.
Because the person that hit me.
Who would hit you? They'd have to be nuts. I mean, because what do you bench press or something here? I'm sure it's something impressive here, whatever.
It's and less than a Volkswagen.
Less than a Volkswagen. Okay. Now I'll give you a perfect example. So I'm 6'4". I'm an old, cranky old aging hippie here, and everybody assumes because I'm 6'4" that somehow I was can defend myself or something. I've never been in a fight. I've never struck a human being in my life, and people are flabbergasted. And I said, well, nobody. I guess because I was so tall, nobody ever took a shot at him. They'd knock me out in one punch, I'm sure. But because I towered over the most of the kids as I was growing up, I was 5 foot in second grade. I was 6 foot in sixth grade. Nobody ever took a chance. So I didn't go through that kind of experience. But abuse can be many things. It's not just physical. It can certainly be mental too.
Oh yeah, all sorts. And that's kind of what, this project has been a real learning project for me, about that kind of the different areas of abuse that people go through. But I would say with Paul, with you, Paul, maybe, somebody along the line told you or taught you that you don't solve your problems with violence. And because it really has nothing to do with height or stature or anything.
That's the truth.
There are many cases of smaller women hitting men, women hitting women. That's what I discovered in this project, is that when it happens to you, you feel very alone, and it can be very emasculating for a man to say this happened to me, because it's sort of like, how? And so, I went through a period of kind of darkness and fear of a person. And
wow. Yeah.
When I reached out to the LGBT Center and got the help I needed, and I mean real help, like legal assistance and protection, I lost the fear, and I had this desire to tell my story in a portrait. I'm a designer, so my language is always visual.
Right.
Just needed to show how I felt. I didn't feel afraid anymore. I didn't feel these feelings that I didn't even understand, because no one had ever done that to me.
Yeah. Right.
I burst through it. And so, when I did that portrait, I really didn't have a project in mind. I did it with an amazing photographer, Ben Fink. And when we released the portrait, which was terrifying for me to put that out there.
Yeah.
You do get a lot of, you can be afraid. Well, when you tell a story like that, it's very scary, and people can react different ways.
First of all, you're making yourself vulnerable, which nobody wants to do anymore. I don't know why we all got to put on this persona, especially me. I grew up in the Midwest, big, rough, tough guys. My dad was a bomber pilot, World War II. Yeah. You just don't, you don't say this stuff. There's never a problem. You're always strong. You're always tough, whatever here. And yet my father was pretty gentle man. He never put a hand on me, ever.
And there it is.
Right.
He taught you that through his actions and his love for you.
Right.
He taught you right from wrong, but he taught you how to be a gentle, loving.
Never put his hand on me. I never experienced that. So, and to this day, nobody's ever put their hand on me.
No, and and I learned a lot about that too. In this project, of what you attract into your life, what you will tolerate.
Yeah,
but also, what you were saying about when you put it out there, it's vulnerable, and the learning for me was that it was the adverse reaction that came to me. What came back to me was I guess they call it going viral. My portrait went viral, and people started contacting me saying, I've been through this.
Yes.
I want to do this. How do I do this? And so from there was the Shine Project was born. And people started asking me to put them in touch with photographers, either in their local community or ones that were in my Los Angeles area that I felt would be sensitive enough to handle this topic. And, there's over 40 portraits now.
Wow. And hold up, you've got a spectacular coffee table book this is going to be an art exhibit. We're going to give you the time and place at the end of this. It's coming up. People can go see this. It's an art exhibit of all these pictures. And the pictures show what? They show people as they see themselves, or as the artist sees them, but it's all about reemerging, about shining again from within.
Yes. So I'll share my screen here. Are you seeing that, Paul?
What happened? Yes, now I see it. Okay.
Okay. So the portraits, I'll show a few here. The Shine Project, these portraits are about people finding their light. And it's a collaboration between each photographer and subject each time to tell their story in the most pure, honest way. And the exhibit will feature these portraits. And so, this particular one is Andrew. He's consoling himself, the person he is now, consoling the person he thought he was after the abuse.
Wow.
Toya, who did an amazing self-portrait where she had some scars from her abuser, but she put a gold foil on them to imbue them with value, aesthetically, and just, what I noticed in each one of these portraits is that it's in the eyes. Every time you
God,
look,
look at
you
this.
can
Looks like
see it.
something I'd see in the Vatican or something. Go back to that last one here.
Well, this is the one that started. This is my portrait, and I just wanted to show that I felt like I was coming into my light again. And
Yeah.
I understand, the semantics of this portrait, but I put it out there, and it's how I felt, and I just felt honest. This is how I am.
What a
And
spectacular shot. Okay. All right.
so, Sasha this project has been going on for so long now that she did 2 portraits. She came into the project just coming out of abuse, and then through the time the project has been developed, she transitioned, and she now identifies as a woman. And the progression between these 2 shots,
So
I
that's the
think,
same person on the left and on the right there?
yes,
Wow.
biologically the same person, but I would put it out there to say no, and that
Yeah.
she has completely been reborn. She got safe, and she's married, and she has come into her own. And I'm sorry, it always makes me a little emotional to talk about
Yeah.
these things,
Wow.
because this is what the project's about. It's about these people who have come through a dark time and are so bright. Chad, another guy who you just in the LGBT community in Los Angeles, very popular. No one would ever even think this would happen. To Rachel in Portland, a yoga teacher. Each portrait is just, I'm just so grateful that everybody that
And how do
participated.
they design these? I mean, who comes up? I don't know that I would love to show if I went through something really dark and terrible. And I've been through depressions and other sorts of things. I haven't been through abuse per se. But if I went through something really dark and I wanted to show the light again, I don't
Mhm.
know how I would, because I don't have a visual language. I'm a verbal person. I'm a talker. So I don't know how I would see that. Somebody would have to come up with something. Would they talk to these people and then try and envision something, or would the people themselves suggest a pose, suggest a portrait,
Yeah.
suggest an image?
Well, so you bring up the great parts of the project that I had to ask myself these questions. So I'm a visual person. I understood what I wanted to do. I wanted to express an emotion, working with a photographer who does that. But a lot of the people in this project are not visual people.
I'm
They
not.
don't like
Yeah.
it. Yeah. And so so a lot of what I did was I would curate and make a relationship, develop a relationship between the subject and the photographer that I thought would nurture this person and be able to tell their story tenderly. And so the actual intimate conversations between the photographer and the subject, I'm not a part of that. I didn't want to control this. I wanted to
Right.
let the creative relationship develop between these 2 people until and so each time they came up with their own concepts about how they wanted to tell their story. Um, you know, I love this portrait of Matt by David Zimmerman. Matt had been in a situation where he was literally bound by somebody, physically bound
Oh my
by an
God.
abuser.
Yeah.
So he wanted those ropes, and he wanted to take control of them, like he's in control of them. And so that's a beautiful portrait. And David came up with this concept. It's just beautiful. And to the intimacy of Michael Arden's portrait with Christian, just being in the water and being reborn, but also the intimacy of this portrait. Michael had to get right in there, in the
Yeah.
rain to get this. And to Cassidy, feeling that no one would believe him or hear him, and he was screaming to tell this story,
And
and he
yet you
needed
can't see his head. You can see
yes.
the hands, portraying the amplification of his voice, but the head itself is lost.
And he talks about that. There's a video that goes along with this that we'll present the night of the event. And Cassidy's one of the featured subjects, and he talks about there are no eyes in his portrait because he felt like he was screaming in the dark,
Yeah.
and he needed to tell this story. So they're very powerful.
And that one of them is the same. I thought they'd all kind of be I guess, again, if you were the artistic director and you shaped everyone, then they'd all have a certain look and style, I guess, here. But this, you're saying that this is their own image that they either brought to the project and said, I think this is how I want to look, and maybe in collaboration with the photographers, well, then if you want to do that, let's make this like this one, this film noir kind of look here of the
Yes.
pane of window showing your pain or something. I don't know what I'm trying
Well,
to.
yeah, that's a great way to put it. And that's exactly what happened. I really it's one of those things where I work in the car industry, so I understand how to develop and brand a concept. I also understand that when you're working on a car, you're not working on all the other cars, but it has to speak to the same story that, let's say, like a Nissan is telling about its brand, even though you're not involved in the other models being developed.
Right.
So I wanted to do that with this. I just brought my car design sensibility to it, where I can tell my portrait is my story, but everybody else's portrait is going to be a different story under the halo of this. And I just sort of sat back and let it happen. Shannon is a great one, shot with Gabriel Goldberg, where she just felt like she had been imprisoned by this story for so long, and they they set up a studio with this window coming from the light, and she is releasing and coming into her light. Fascinating to me. I don't know how interesting it will be to viewers, but anyone who's done a creative project, this portrait was actually shot during the pandemic, and Shannon lives in Portland and Gabriel lives in Los Angeles. So he hired an assistant. He couldn't fly, right? Everything was shut down.
Right.
Hired a local assistant to go into the studio. They collaborated via FaceTime while he set up everything and the camera and the light and everything. And then Shannon came in and Gabriel shot this on his iPad from Los Angeles.
What?
Once as the assistant did everything he said. So he literally wasn't here when he shot this portrait. And that was blowing my mind that we could even do that.
No, Well, you used to amaze me when you started. We were doing this show, Driven by Design. You're talking futuristic car people, and more of your work was, what do they call it, the Oculus Rift, or what are these, where you put the goggles on and you're in another world here.
Yes, VR is an amazing tool. I still use it. I mean, it's just like you can, I love that. And I kind of got that, it's like amazing how the world is changing, right? Like I remember, during the pandemic, I'd go to Provincetown to be safe and not from Massachusetts and stay there and in a little community. And then my client was in China and we'd have a design review and,
Of course.
Yeah. But yeah, so this project, I hope I hope that this project continues to grow. I've been so overwhelmed with emotion and gratitude.
Who's this one? Just give him a shout out here.
Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah. This is Stephen Michael, and Charlie. Again, first time I ever met Charlie, he was this big muscle guy who walked into a room in an orange tutu and a harness on, and I was just like, this man is massive.
Yeah, he's huge.
He experienced that as well, and so their concept was, Stephen Michael just really is a master of playing with light, hots and colds and lights, and really just wanted to show Charlie, not only in a protective way, but also coming out of protecting himself.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful portrait. So yeah, again, I hope the project will grow and continue to help people beyond this event.
I hope it opens up an audience way even beyond the LGBTQ plus community, if I got all the letters in there again, because everybody this is a common theme around the world.
Yes.
Male, female, male, female, humans have this problem. And I think what you're pointing out is somehow you think if you're the victim of, it's like we did a thing with Laura's House. Laura's House is for battered women here in Orange County. And it takes these women 3-4 times before they finally leave. Because they have part of it, they don't know where to go. Part of it, their partner says, I'm sorry, and they go right back into it again. And part of it is they can't admit to anybody that this is happening. Why? They're a happy couple. How can this be happening to them? And it is behind closed doors. And to get to shine a light on that and to find a way, you must feel like you're in a tunnel with no way out.
One of the main things I learned from this project was empathy for things I don't understand.
Yeah, exactly.
Beforehand, I would have probably said, how would you ever stay? I can't understand how you would stay. And what I learned is that when you're with a malignant narcissist, and that's the type of person that will hit you, hurt you this way, they're so dark.
Yeah.
That they need your light and they want to possess your light and dim it. And what you don't realize it's happening until suddenly your light has gone so dim that you don't believe in yourself anymore.
Yeah, that's the whole idea, right? They make you doubt yourself. It's your fault. That you're to blame for this. You know, children that get abused and stuff, and they come back and they think, well, it must be my fault. No, it's not your fault. You weren't a bad kid. They didn't beat you up because you were a bad kid. They beat you up because they're sick people.
Yeah, there's a darkness inside, and they want to. I think the irony is they are really attracted to you because you shine so bright.
Yeah,
and that's the thing that I had to learn is that
they love it and they hate it, and then so they take it out on, and maybe they want to hit themselves or hurt themselves too, or whatever. I don't know. I don't quite understand the whole psychology of it.
Trying to understand what's the trap. So when you're in it, you're trying to empathize. Oh, he didn't mean it. He won't do it again.
Right.
You know, it must be. Oh, he had abuse in his childhood. But
right.
What I learned, okay, everybody has things that they have to deal with, but you can go to therapy and you can get tools, or you can sit around and let that be the backpack that you carry around for the rest of your life and use as an excuse for why you do bad things.
Yeah.
And so you just, and I'll tell you something, like my grandma, Mama Lou, always would say to me when she was like doing her hair and I was laying on the bathroom floor, she would always say, Bryan, never dim your light for anybody.
Wow. There you go.
Shine so bright that everyone around you is encouraged to shine brighter themselves. And that's what this project is.
They got to turn their light up to match yours.
Yeah. Inspire people to shine brighter, never dim. And I think, you lose that for a while when you're in a relationship like that. So
I think it's a common theme that doesn't get discussed enough. And whether it's in the LGBTQ plus community, whether it's in a mainstream world, whether it's kids, whether it's foreign countries, there are people that are suffering abuse, and they do so silently. They think they're alone. They don't know any way out. On some level, I guess what you're saying, they must feel it's my fault, or I'm ashamed, or I can't face this, or I can't deal with it, or whatever here. They can't go out and tell people about it. And this not only allows people to do that, but it gives them hope. Isn't that what we all live for in the moment? I just want a little hope every morning when I wake up here. I hope this is a bright day. I hope this is a better day. I hope this is a good day.
I hope this project gives hope.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
That's what I hope for it. So, yeah.
How do they get the book? How do they support the project? How do they? Let's start with the exhibit itself. The exhibit is coming up in another week here for those listening live. It's going to be up. Tell us where and when and all that stuff again here.
So the exhibit is at the LA LGBT Center's Liberation Coffee House in Hollywood, 6725 Santa Monica Boulevard.
Okay.
So I said that right.
Is that up in West Hollywood somewhere, or is that
actually in Hollywood? Yeah, 6725 Santa Monica Boulevard. Thursday, June 13th, 6:30 to 9 p.m.
And what happens? Is there a cost or anything to walk in?
It's free. There'll be light bites, cocktails, some wonderful music, and we will show a short video. And with the portraits are there. Now the portraits are available to purchase. All of the proceeds from this project go back to the Los Angeles LGBT Center.
There you go. Okay.
My way of saying thank you.
Right.
For them helping. And then for people who either want to learn more about it, or maybe don't want to buy a portrait but just make a donation, you do get a book. And this will be available at the show. And the book has every single portrait that we've done so far. It's a beautiful book.
Quite.
Yeah.
Expensive book. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that book will be there for people to purchase on site, and so the portraits will be as well. But it's going to be mostly. It's not let me put it this way: there's not we're not selling things to do this. We're showcasing people's light, and so it's very simple. QR codes. If people are interested, they can walk over, purchase. It's just going to be a beautiful.
And is there a website or anything for this project yet? Or
yeah, so the best place to go, I would say, for the most direct access on Instagram is To Shine Through. The handle To Shine Through, TOSHINETHROUGH.
Okay.
To Shine Through on Instagram. Everything kind of stems from there. You'll get connections to where if you just simply want to donate to the project, if you want to come and support. if you want to see the portraits, if you want to learn more, if you're in need of help, there are links there of how to get help. Some people
Good. I was going to ask, right? Because some people be drawn to this light and say, how do I get light in my life here? Yeah.
That's what I needed. And I wouldn't have known how to ask. And so in the dark of night in my bedroom one night, I just got on their website and learned. And, I don't like to use hyperbole, but I do believe the center saved my life.
Pretty strong statement. Well, and I can believe it, because you've certainly you talked about this, and I thought, well, this is one of those feel-good things that someday, yeah, right. This you stuck with this. This has been, what, 5 years in the making here? Several years at least.
Yeah.
3, 4, 5 years.
Seems like the better part of 5 years, I would say. So I was just putting that to rest there. Yeah, about 4 or 5 years. The better part of 5 years.
Let's stop sharing your screen there, because you cut yourself off here.
I did?
Yep.
Sorry.
All I can see is this. Well, here, I can take away your permission maybe here.
Sorry about that.
All I see is a blank. We're back. We want to go out on the light here. We don't want to go out on a blank, dark portrait here.
Sorry about that. I screwed up.
I still don't see you back again here, but let's see here. Maybe if I go this way and come back to here. Well, somehow you disappeared on us here. Here, I'll see if I can refresh it and remove. Let's see. I'll start over again. We're doing this live, folks. If you're watching this here, desktop capture. Let's do this. There we go. That's
Sorry about
better.
that. I thought I was putting the book to rest.
That's okay. Really, really an intriguing, powerful project that I wish you the best on, and I'm sure it will shine through as people react to this here. I have one. Here's how I'm going to end it. You used to say that a good car design, I don't know if it was you or what, I think it was the guy that was your mentor at Mazda, the guy that did the Miata, whose name escapes me here. And he said that when he knew it was a good design is when you walk away and you just had to turn around and look at it one more time. That's the way I feel about these pictures here. I think I feel like looking at them one more time here, because there's such powerful imagery there, and such powerful, like that girl right there, that picture of you. Oh my God. Yeah. I think that's the best compliment I can give you. I
was going to say that is the best compliment you could give. It feels like there's a power in this project, and I hope it will continue to help people. And that's my goal with it.
I'm sure it is. Thank you so much. I hope we get you back in the air someday here at OC Talk Radio. But in the meantime, congratulations on sticking with us and seeing it through. A spectacular project that's going to be highlighted. What's the date again? It's June
13th, Thursday, 6:30 to 9 p.m. LA LGBT Center, 6725 Santa Monica Boulevard. Open invitation. Come on out.
Come on up, even from Orange County here, wherever else people are listening here. I don't know if I'll be able to make it. We do shows up until like 6 o'clock that day, but maybe I'll stop up and see it some other time here. But thank you so much for sharing this story with us and being so vulnerable and open to shine a light into other people's lives. Maybe they feel like this guy shouting into the dark here and no one can see me. So
thank you, Paul. Thank you for letting me talk about this.
Cool stuff. Thank you very much. Your powerful stuff. All right. Well, that's going to wrap it up for today, folks. We thank you for joining us, and we hope that you'll come back again as we continue to explore these stories that we shine a light on here in our OC Spotlight. Streaming live from our studios here at the University of California, Irvine's Beale Applied Innovation Center. You're listening to Orange County's only community radio station, OC Talk Radio.